ut i snön. Bare følt for jeg faen i hva dere mener, til den dagen jeg dør. Bare følt for hvorfor står du her med rumpa bare ut i snøen? Bare følt for jeg faen i hva dere mener, til den dagen jeg dør. Bare følt for, bare følt for, bare følt for, bare følt for, bare følt for.
Hey everybody, we're back. Sean, you there?
Yep,
Awesome.
ready and raring to go.
Raring for our first Diamond semifinal match here for the Summer Splash between Question Mark XD and Stuck Gaming. Stuck Gaming is the 1 seed facing off against the 4 seed in Question Mark XD. Earlier today, we got to see GSM Platinum go against MG Blaze over on the Return of the Middle Sticks channel. If you didn't see it, I suggest you go check it out. But for now, we've got the Diamond semifinals, and we're going to see which one of these two teams is heading to finals on Saturday.
Yep, with the first couple bands coming in, we have Ash banned on the blue side, so Gaming go ahead and counter with the Graves ban, followed by an Akali.
Yeah, so a little bit varied bans here. Ashe, a little more prominence in the ADC meta since the nerfs to Varus and Ezreal in this last patch 9.13. Are we on 9.14 yet?
Yes, the patch
Okay.
has
So wait, yeah,
gone
so
through.
9.14 is the Ezreal and Varus nerfs. Um, Previously 9.13 was the big Death Dance change. Um, but Ashe seeing a little bit of a kind of pocket pick, situational pick. Meanwhile, Akali, did she just get buffed?
She has not been buffed recently that I know of.
Okay, I feel like I've been seeing more and more Akali players. Maybe that's just I hate getting rolled by Akali, but Syndra is a big one that's been in the meta for a long time now, and she's going to be taken away by question mark XD.
Yeah, and of course the pretty much mandatory Shen ban against Mechanical Reaper, the Diamond 1 Shen 1 trick. With something like a 60% win rate over hundreds of games.
And the final ban will be a Rumble by Stuck Gaming. So, interesting coming in here. A couple of big power picks still available. We'll have to see what they go with. The Karma is a hover that is going to be locked by question mark XD, likely going to Curb Stomp.
Yeah, that'd be my guess as well. He tends to play it a lot support. Uh, Doc is the former jungler of Question XD, now moved to mid after they replaced Fiction with Rip Brutalizer, so I'm not sure whether Karma's in his champ pool. I assume that's why it's going support, countered with Aphelios Nami.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Nami hasn't been seen too much recently, but it is a good pickup with Aphelios. Aphelios just really needs a top off, some peel, a little bit of extra damage in that Nami E, and then of course the engage from the tidal wave. But Rip Brutalizer is going to lock in the Olaf, and Let's Have Fun will be picking up the Ezreal as well. So it's a very mobile, or in Olaf's case, CC ignoring team that Nami can't really just like split with the tidal wave.
Yeah, it's also just a really solid three-man core. Doesn't really give any indications as to what Question XD's game plan is. They have a safe bot lane that can also go aggressive and shove in the strongest early game jungler in the game, I would say, with Olaf. So it gives them a lot of freedom on what their other draft picks are going to be.
Yeah, and Kindred is going to round out the pick for Stuck Gaming, which means that really we're looking at solo laners here, mids and tops, to be banned and picked in the second round of draft. And the Olaf Kindred matchup is something that actually comes up a lot in Platinum because Ikato plays it all the time. Do you want to run through that a little bit?
Yeah, you see it a lot in pro play as well, I think. And the Kindred's a pretty good answer to Olaf. You can actually kite out the Olaf with Kindred, maybe dodge a couple axes with your dash. Helps alleviate some of Olaf, and just being ranged as well. And having the dashes makes it a lot harder for Olaf to just run you down early game like he does to basically everyone. And when you ult as Olaf, something a little less known, you lose out on some bonus armor and magic resistances, so you actually get squishier. And if you have a Kindred fighting him, then you can kind of burst through it, survive through your ult to get him low enough to where you can maybe burst him down afterwards. Looks like Ornn and Hecarim bans along with a Nocturne. The Nocturne's kind of interesting. I don't
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
they're
they.
afraid Doc will play it since he's a jungler who's played it before and he might just take it mid.
Yeah, the Nocturne mid, the Vedius special, or even possibly Mechanical Reaper playing Olaf top or something.
Yeah, that's also true.
You never know. But of course, Olaf is a really good counter pick into a lot of weak side top laners, especially the really heavily scaling ones. Kale has been picked up a few times in LEC, and Olaf does very well into her.
Yeah, that's just pretty much GG lane. Looks like Volibear locked in, so they're saving mid for the blind pick and giving Volibear to parry difference. This does offer Mechanical Reaper the counter pick, and Volibear I would say is a counter pickable top laner depending on what matchup he wants to go for.
Yeah, I mean
Kinda curious to see how
he's
that works
strong,
out.
but he's not unbeatable. And Mordekaiser certainly one of the champions that can beat Volibear. This will be an interesting lane because
Yeah,
Parry difference is a very he's an aggressive 1v1 kind of guy, and Mechanical Reaper. Well, he certainly has the capability. We've seen him a lot of times picking up something like a Mordekaiser and then just beating the crap out of his enemy.
yeah, I don't like Mordekaiser in Volibear matchup. From what I'd say it's like against Volibear. Volibear is very favored early on into it, especially before Mordekaiser gets his Q down to a reasonable cooldown, maybe gets Leandries to actually burn through it. But that pretty much cedes the entirety of the early game top side to the Volibear, which is going to help Kindred early on against the Olaf. But the Galio pickup is going to help alleviate that with his global, and then counterpicked with the Ari.
Yeah, and the Galio, Mordekaiser, Olaf. This really is such a tanky team. Luckily, they do have the AP top laner, so it's not like they're missing out on much damage in terms of the profile. And then Ezreal he's able to do a lot of damage. He's really safe, and he still actually uses Death's Dance fairly well, even after all of the changes to him and the item.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on the Galio pick because, like, just looking at the team comp, their only real engage is Olaf runs through everyone, and they try and start fights that way. They don't really. Mordekaiser isn't really one of those like flank top laners that you can use to force an engage. Galio can do it, I guess, with like a taunt flank, but that's generally not his role. He's generally ulting in.
Yeah,
But
and at the same time, you look at the other side for Stuck Gaming, and they have no shortage of engages between Ari, Nami, Volibear, even Aphelios throwing a Gravitum ultimate. All of those are potential engages that, I mean, I think Question Mark XD can deal with because they're very tanky.
yeah,
But
well, that and they also have like Olaf doesn't care if you engage on him; he can just run away. Ezreal, plus with the Karma speed ups, you can just run away as well. So I think a lot of it's going to be who gets themselves into a position where they can be caught out, rather than like a team being able to force on the other. It's going to be mispositioning, I think, that really decides who manages to get the picks and get a lead.
yeah, so obviously that's a much more mid-late game macro sort of thing, but in the early game you did talk about the Mordekaiser versus Volibear matchup, and then we discussed briefly the Olaf Kindred in the jungle. But how do these bot lanes work out? What's the priority going to look like for most of this game, and how does that play into the dragon situation here?
I'm pretty sure it'll kind of depend on player skill because I can see a world where Ezreal Karma managed to get the minion wave advantage and that just lets them shoot free poke into Aphelios Nami. But Nami is a good pick in that it allows you to kind of sustain through that poke if Ezreal can't get around minions and lane his own Qs and it's just Karma poking. Nami can counter if they go up too forward, you hit a bubble. Aphelios can return fire. So I would say that Question XD probably have the better poke lane, but if they misstep, then Aphelios and if Aphelios and Nami manage to get an early advantage, then they can easily just keep Ezreal and Karma under tower and
Kind of
have that
a
on
high risk,
fire.
high reward situation there.
Yeah, I think it's not even high risk, high reward. More like the one side is going to be able to keep the other under tower if they play it better. I don't
Okay.
see a lot of kill threat unless either one just steps too far up and either Question XD gets caught with a bubble or Aphelios and Nami get too close to Karma who like slows roots them into all of Ezreal's damage.
Yeah. No, that I totally see that, but one last concern I have before we get into the actual game is that as you get later and later into this game, Ezreal is very good at 3, 4 items, but into those later stages, the 5, 6 items, Aphelios still kind of just out 200 years as him, especially into such a short-range team like Mordekaiser, Olaf, Galio. How do you think that Question Mark XD really needs to just end it before 35 minutes, or is this the kind of thing where you can still trade tit for tat in the late game?
I think that Question XD have a chance late game, but all of their power spikes are around mid game. Olaf is strongest mid game. Mordekaiser is pretty strong mid game. Galio is at his strongest mid game, and Ezreal has a really good 2-item power spike. So if they manage to get mid game is where they're going to really want to get their advantage, and if they can't, I'm worried for them because otherwise they're just liable to get picked off by Ahri dashing in. Kindred outscales Olaf hard. Aphelios, of course, is about 200 years ahead of most of the competition in terms of scaling. Volibear, Mordekaiser, I'm not sure exactly where the scaling lies between Volibear and Mordekaiser, but I'd say Volibear has a bit more utility later, so it's probably a bit Volibear favored later on. So I would definitely say that Question XD needs to make something happen by mid game once they have their power spikes at the very least. Otherwise, they're going to be in for, it's not impossible to win, but it's going to be really rough if they don't.
This is a kind of, Question XD needs to get that first Baron, around 25 minutes and build themselves a winnable lead versus, SG, if they can just stall it out long enough, especially depending on the rift for the Drakes. If this ends up being the kind of thing where they can stall it out, say an Ocean Soul that they can get, or even like a Cloud Soul or something with how many different mobility ults that they have, that could definitely stall the game out long enough for them, whereas like a Mountain that goes over to the hands of Question XD, that's just unkillably tanky at that point with, 2 or 4 Mountain Drakes in your pocket.
I wouldn't say unkillable tanky when you have Kindred Aphelios.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're
on
really just reminding me of all of the things that I don't like.
Yeah, but then we also, from the Platinum series, I think Aphelios got Giga Stomped in all 3 games it was played. So we'll have to see if Diamond can actually pilot Champion to its full potential.
Yeah,
as we finally start getting into game.
Yeah, so we've got here for our first Diamond semifinal, Question Mark XD on the blue side, featuring Mechanical Reaper in the top lane on Mordekaiser, Rip Brutalizer in the jungle on Olaf. I feel you, dude. Doc in the mid lane on Galio, and the bot lane for Question Mark XD, Let's Have Fun and Curb Stomp on the Ezreal and Karma.
Yep, and on the red side we have Parry Difference going in with the Volibear. Mike Omalbro on Kindred, Killering in mid lane with the Ahri, and then Vital Reeves with Aphelios, and Nami making up ADC and support.
So, one thing, obviously ADCs, since Fleet Footwork has kind of gone out of style, and Lethal Tempo is only good on certain ADCs, they've really been transitioning toward picking Conqueror or Press the Attack. And Aphelios in particular, you see him really flip between the two. He doesn't have one that's better, but what's your read on the situation?
I don't like Press the Attack for Aphelios. I haven't played bot enough to really know what like the power spikes and all that are. I just don't see a benefit to Press the Attack for him compared to something like the Conqueror, because he's more of a spellcaster AD. He doesn't have a really good way to quick proc it, and just like ADCs in general, I don't think any of them right now take PTA as like their standard all the time rune. Like you'll see it sometimes on maybe like Draven or something, but just on the whole, you want to be spending a long time like in fights autoing. Like you don't want to just be doing your 3 auto combo done. You want to be hitting people multiple times. You want to be getting everything like longer fights. So one like the Lethal Tempo that gives you a lot more sustained damage, or the Conqueror that gives you more stacking AD for sustained damage. So, and especially on Aphelios, who can't even proc PTA quickly, really. I just don't like choice. As Doc's dead.
Doc!
Alright then.
Oh, bud. mean, he just joined the mid lane recently since XD brought in Rip Brutalizer, but still, that is hard to see. Already the teleport's burned here at 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, that is good for him, though, that he does end up having the TP to kind of make up for it, but that's just not the sort of thing you want to do starting off your first game of the semifinals and then just 2.5 minutes in get solo killed by Ari. And while top lane, like, you can start to see just how strong early Volibear is. There's not a lot that Mordekaiser can do until he starts scaling up, which is why I was a bit concerned about the pick. Action starting bot lane, maybe?
Yeah, just a summoner burned. Let's have fun using his heal there. But yeah, Vital, you saw him get the press the attack, get the fairly large chunk of damage, but as he was doing that, I couldn't help but feeling like it would have done a little bit more if it were a Conqueror. But now, we might have a 3v3 in here. Vital is going to have to run away the exhaust and the heal burn. Mike Oxmall is going to have to flash over the wall. Rip Brutalizer is going to help his team win that one, and it's a Scuttle Crab for Question XD.
Yeah, that was awkward back time by Killering. He wanted to take advantage of his gold swing, so he went ahead and backed, and on his way back, fight started off, so Doc managed to get a good run to force them away, as well as it's just Olaf being stronger than Kindred early, so they're the ones that get the flash and the exhaust out. So that's a good way to deny Kindred both scuttles. They're now gone, and also denies her marks. That's a really, really nice early start for the Olaf to start shutting Kindred from scaling.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's basically textbook for Olaf into Kindred. As long as you can force an early trade that you end up winning, she can't 1v1 you. And then parry difference we did see him go down there and try and maybe steal away the crab or delay it from Olaf, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do that. Now, Rip Brutalizer is 4 full camps ahead of Mike Oxmall.
Yeah, which I would say that any jungler into Olaf is one where Olaf likes fighting them early. He's pretty much known as the king of early jungling, just with how much sheer 1v1 potential he has. Oh, that was a nice pull. Get him in tower range.
Yeah, but you see that Volibear E just doing, or the W rather, doing so much damage with the heal, the execute damage, and he's poking with his E. It's just making Mechanical Reaper's life up there just a little bit harder, just a little bit more. I don't want to be here right now.
It's just a really rough matchup, and it's something interesting that Perry is also doing that I've noticed. He's actually maxing E right now. He went the Doran's Ring, and now he has 3 points in E starting to max it. I really don't like that choice, because Mordekaiser does start to scale not well into Volibear, but decently enough to be able to fight him. And having the W is just such a good sustain tool into it to try and get him through, like if he ults. So it's just, for the short trades, the Emax is good, but once Mordekaiser is able to get the ult and get into the really long trade, I think he's going to miss having the extra points in the W for the better 1v1.
And, I mean, that seems to be Mechanical Reaper's avenue back into this lane, really. He's 15 CS down right about now. They're both going to take the long walk back to lane, since Dragon is up, has been up for about a minute. But once they both hit 6, Mechanical Reaper should be able to win the 1v1 from what you're saying, and now a gank is actually going to burn Vital's flash early. He's just being very respectful of that Olaf.
Yeah, that was a good force splash from Vital. That puts him really vulnerable, especially with how the wave is pushing out away from him. Now he has to extend super far to get any farm. He's not like Ezreal, who has long-range farm tools. So as long as Let's Have Fun and Curb Stomp let the wave push into them, and they'll be able to deny a ton of farm from the Aphelios, who's flashless and knows that the enemy team is on his side of the map. So that's just a really, really rough spot when he's already down in CS.
And a smart dragon take by the mid-jungle duo here for Question XD. It is, the first Drake is an Ocean, second Drake will be a Cloud. So this is either Infernal or Mountain Rift, and now possibly the 1v1. Mechanical Reaper has not used his ultimate yet. Parry difference running him down. Mechanical Reaper will get away without having to burn anything, but he loses out on a lot of health.
Yep, it's not the biggest deal at this point. You have both TPs up, so, and Mordekaiser's sustain is pretty decent. So at this point, he's just weathering the storm until he can get enough items to start fighting back. As like bot lane continues to go forward and then have some nice little trades, but a really nice. It's both teams are playing towards their power points. Olaf on the bot side taking advantage of his bot lane and their CS lead, while top lane Parry Difference has CS lead. So we'll have to see which one can do a better job of carrying him through.
So we do see that the camp, Kindred's Mark has spawned on the Raptor camp here for Rip Brutalizer, which he is taking now. So let's do a quick check-in. Only one stack so far here at 8 minutes for the Kindred. Pretty expected against an Olaf just because of how oppressive he is. But we would like to see, maybe First Blood go over, an assist at least to get that second stack, that first range upgrade for the Kindred. Now Mechanical Reaper in a little bit of trouble, but again, just able to walk away. Walk away clean.
Yeah, and Parry Difference is also starting to get a bit low. He does have the ult, of course, but it looks like Mechanical Reaper is going to back in TP. Parry Difference should be backing right now. Wait, is Mechanical Reaper not have TP? Oh, they're lane. Okay, so Parry Difference managed to shove the lane and get a plate. That's pretty nice for him, but now it looks like Question XD are setting up a lane swap with their bot lane over to try and get the Herald, as Mechanical Reaper trying goes bot to get his farm. And that's a very interesting at this stage of the game, not something you typically see too often outside of pro play, from my experience.
Yeah, personally, I love it because exactly as you said, you don't see it that much outside of pro play. So a lot of the time, people aren't really expecting it. And just the way that it was set up here for Question XD to get it, really good. Vital and Lord Reeves were both right in the lane, so you had eyes on them the whole time, but now Doc getting a little bit of aggression on top of him. Killer and going to get some damage. Doc is going to go down. Mike takes the kill, and that is going to be the Rift Herald picked up and immediately dropped in top lane. Going to get a couple of plates while plates are being traded in bot here. Very strange, right after the, LCS level play here for Question XD. Kind of goes pear-shaped, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Duck got a bit unlucky with his death. He was trying to just even back in the wave, but caught barely on the edge by Killering, so he actually landed the knockup, which he didn't want. That allows his to go down. And then the Herald drop. Oh, I guess we'll talk about that later, maybe.
Maybe a little bit of a dive here. Mechanical Reaper walking away from the turret and flashing.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, so we'll do this first, and then I'll go back and talk about the Herald. But that was weird, because the whole thing about Mordekaiser, especially in a lane swap, is you can't tower dive him. Because he just presses R and gets you into an honorable 1v1, which is actually a 2v1, because he gets to have his tower with him if he does it under tower. So instead of staying there and catching the farm, keeping them away from tower just by threat of being able to ult you under it, he walked back and let himself get into a 1v1 away from tower with the Kindred and then forced to burn his flash. Meanwhile, the top Herald play was just pretty bad use of it from what you want from it. Usually you want to drop it as the wave's crashing. You can force Parry Difference away by threatening the dive. You have 3 people versus 1, it's doable, especially after you just saw Kindred. So you threaten the dive, force him off, and then you can get 2 plates, half. Then you drop Herald and get almost the entire tower in one go, because Herald gets 2 plates minimum with it. So instead they just kind of dropped it immediately, the 2 plates, and nothing more, while also just not getting any, which pretty much evens out the gold directly from the Herald swap, which it was just, yeah.
I couldn't agree more, because it looked like such a good play on paper, and then between, as you said, bot lane with Mordekaiser seeding 2 plates of pressure, and then top lane only getting the first 2 plates of that top tower, it was a little suspicious. But now the teleport actually coming in, Parry Difference moving in around the Tribrush. Let's Have Fun, he's in trouble. Curb Stomp gonna get aggressed on. Parry Difference will be taking the kill, and Let's Have Fun going down to the Kindred. A clean 2-0 teleport play by Stuck Gaming.
Yeah, that was just a really nice response from Stuck, and a pretty questionable all-in from Question XD's bot lane. They didn't have any vision on their side, and Ezreal basically went face first into Nami and Aphelios as the jungler was coming in and the TP was channeling. Reaper had already TP'd back top, so they knew it was a TP difference, and so that just gives away a free dragon and kills to Stuck Gaming.
Yeah, and now that dragon was a cloud, so it will be an infernal rift here. Not that super tanky mountain we were talking about earlier, but it will be a little bit better for, well, for all of the range champions at least.
Yeah. One thing it does do, though, is that with the TP, Mordekaiser managed to get 2 plates, so he's actually only about 500 gold behind the Volibear, getting into the part of the game where he can do a, not really fight him, but he can do a decent job of it at least, as Brutalizer is...
Wow! He does manage to trade 1 for 1 here, but Doc, coming in with the heroic entrance, will not do anything. It will actually give over a kill. Currently, the score is 6-1 in favor of Stuck Gaming, our 1 seed from Diamond.
Yeah, it was... Brutalizer decided that he really wanted that blue buff and wasn't going to take no for an answer. So he just runs into 2 and takes so much damage. Doc does manage to channel the ult, but it's as Brutalizer already died. Very difference already had lane cryo top. So all the contestant did, he did manage to luckily get the trade on Kindred, who misplayed a bit with both flash and ult up. So it ends up being a 1 for 2, but it really should have been just a 2 for none. And just, yeah, that was just a greedy contest.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Doc shouldn't have gone in there in the first place. It just should have been a 1 for 0. I think the heroic entrance did end up helping him get the kill. Like, in that Killering wouldn't have been able to do, would have done more than enough damage. But really, is that the trade that you want to be taking right now with such a big skirmishing ultimate there for the Galio?
Yeah. Speaking of Galio, he decided that he wants to go into tank Galio and got an Abyssal Mask. I guess we'll talk about that later. His fights are going on in both lanes.
Yeah, Curb Stomp taking way too much damage, and Vital's actually healing up because he's got that Severum the Guardian coming in clutch for the double kill here. Vital picking up 2 thanks to Lord Reeves saving his sorry behind.
Yeah, and just Question XT's bot lane is not respecting things.
Man, I'm sorry, but
apparently.
Yeah, there's another one because Mike is going to pick up Mechanical Reaper, and now Parry Difference gets his 3rd kill of the game as Rip Brutalizer gets flashed away on. So it's just coming up Stuck Gaming, but back to you.
Yeah, just Question XT aren't really knowing what their limits are at this point. Fighting too hard into the Aphelios Nami with exhaust up, trying to defend the tower after already getting chunked low. It's just a huge difference in power at the moment. Mordekaiser hadn't been back. He was sitting on almost 2k during the top fight compared to Parry, who already had 2 component items plus boots. So it's just really rough at this point as a 6.5k gold gap at 15 minutes.
Ugh. Yeah, that's just rough, and that's every single lane as well. Like, Killering is basically doing the worst of all of the lanes of Stuck Gaming, and he is still 1,600 gold ahead.
Yeah, only lane that's even, or only player that's even close to gold is the jungler. And you don't want the Olaf having the most gold on your team because he doesn't scale very well with it, especially into so much damage that Stuck Gaming has with Triforce Volibear. You have Aphelios, you have Ahri. Olaf could just get blown up immediately in fights, and that means when he's the closest in gold and still behind, the rest of your team just doesn't do a lot. And I really do want to complain a bit about items for now, looking at Question XT. I absolutely hate Tank Galio as a pick. I think if you pick him, you need to be going into AP with him, because just Tank doesn't do a lot. You get one taunt, and your ult kind of zones, but without the AP threat to back it off, you kind of just ignore him for most of the fight. He can't zone backline, he can't really threaten anything. Mordekaiser also went into Nashor's first, which means that he's super squishy, and against the Volibear's head, Ling Injuries is just a much more efficient first buy on him. Nashor's I consider like at soonest a second buy, and that's only into very specific circumstances. Later on, of course it's very good and it's synergized very well with his kit, but you want at least a bit of tankiness with a 1v1, especially when you're starting to fall behind. So it's just going to be really rough, and I don't exactly see what Question XD has back into this game.
Yeah, and that's my major gripe. But first, it's going to be Vital actually getting hit on, and now he's going to flash away, barely keeping himself alive. Olaf has popped the ultimate. Curb Stomp has to flash away as well. Parry Difference is in the fight. He has the ultimate. Is he going to jump in first? Olaf will go down, and it looks like Stuck Gaming will satisfy themselves with just the jungler and their second Drake of the game.
Yeah, it was a decent attempt, but I respect from Question XD. You're falling behind, so you need to make something happen. They try to catch out the Aphelios, but he has flash up. Nami has heal up both the summoner and just her abilities. So he manages to get out, and by that so far forward, overextending for the Aphelios, the rest of Stuck Gaming just collapsed all around them, got the pit, got the dragon, and continue to snowball this game.
Yeah, and it was a 6k gold lead when we last checked. It's 6.9, nice. And it looks like the Rift Herald's going to go down in short order as well. The pings are on it for Stuck Gaming. And, I mean, we said that the mid-game should belong to XD, but are they really going to get to a mid-game before Stuck Gaming has their late game here? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's the issue. Another pick onto Curb Stomp, just walking up to try and get his wards down, but with no one else around him and his teams are already behind. And you already have Stuck Gaming hitting their 2-item power spikes. You have Aphelios about to get his 2 items. Ahri is probably pretty close, or at least to 2.5. Kindred's getting there. Meanwhile, you have 1 item on both mid laners of Question XD. Ezreal is trying to get to his 2-item spike, but he's going to hit it at the same time as Aphelios, and his is way cheaper, which is not a place you want to be at. Olaf is the only one who's hitting his 2-item. He's going to get blown up if he tries to run it, and like there's no sugarcoating that. He's just going to immediately get blown up, and I don't think Reaper wins this.
Yeah, I don't think Reaper wins it. I don't even think that Brutalizer being there gets a kill on Killering. And actually, this reminds me a lot of the 100 Thieves game from this past week of LCS, where Meteos, I think it was Meteos, or Contracts, was playing Olaf, had a decent early game, better than XD had this game, but it was all of the gold difference was on Olaf, and he literally spent the rest of the game running in, getting blown up in 5 seconds, and the rest of his team just being like, well, I guess our only Fed member is dead. We should just die.
Yeah, speaking of getting blown up, Mechanical Reaper might not be fed, but he is most definitely dead as he face checks the Ahri. And that's just going to open up another numbers gap. They are hard diving this.
Holy crap! Parry Difference in the middle of the fight. He gets Curb Stomp low, but he will go down. Now Mike flashes in. He will have to use the Lamb's Respite. I think he's going to lose his life as well. And finally, that's 2 kills, but both of them on the Olaf. Are they going to find Lord Reeves as well? Doc is going to force the flash. Killerings here. A little bit too little, a little bit too late. Vital has his ultimate. He gets 3 with the Gravitum. That's all 4 of them, actually. Let's have fun on the run. Vital, can he get 1 more? No. He gets knocked up by Doc. Doc's going to go in. He will go down. Killering on a rampage. Flashes forward. Misses the charm. But that is a good... that's a good sign there for XD, but Stuck Gaming still managing to get something off the back.
Yeah, no, that was a decent... I won't even say decent counter by XD. Stuck Gaming got way ahead of themselves and just decided to dive between 2 towers. Parry Difference goes in, rest of the team was zoned off by midway Herald to charge, so he just gets a bit of alone time with the enemy team. And while they are behind, they aren't that behind quite yet, so he gets blown up. And then Kindred also dies trying to go in forward with him, which that's 2 pretty important shutdowns to go over to Question XD. That's a really nice response, but you can tell they were still behind. Even with the extra kills, they still couldn't deal with 200 years of gameplay design with Sejuani's old ult that they had to rework because of how powerful it was just on his R. Landing the 4-man route, Killering managed to come in with his several kills worth of gold and make it, I'm not sure exactly how even it was. I think it was a 1 for 2 in the end.
Ended up being a 1 for 2,
also
yes.
yeah. So it also keeps Question XD from getting any objectives, even though they have the shutdowns, both of which went to Olaf, so it's nice, but I don't exactly see how it turns the game unless Stug Gaming decide to do that 4 or 5 more times.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. They need to do this 4 or 5 more times, and the next 4 or 5 times, all of the kills need to not be on the Olaf, which, you know, it's still early game, and you can try and find something, find some kind of engage with it, but at the end of the day, the people who are winning the game for you are really going to be the Ezreal, the Mordekaiser, and Galio. But now, Dragon coming up in about 5 seconds. This could potentially put Stuck Gaming to Soul Point. They will need to take a team fight for it first. And everyone's out of position, but parry difference is teleporting in. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, Death Cap's done for Ari, by the way. They're gonna try to fight it because they kind of have to before Stuck get any more ahead and get to Soul Point, because I don't see them being able to contest the next one. So this is their best shot, but just see how many item spikes that Stuck Gaming have.
Killering missed half of his abilities and still got the kill. But now, Dumpy into the fight. He is going to go forward. That is the knock-up onto Curb Stomp as Rip Brutalizer goes down. Looks like Killering will be finding it. Nope, it's Vital, snagging a double kill for himself. Kindred picking up third Drake here for Stuck Gaming. And let's just try and unpack that Deathcap Ari damage a little bit.
Yeah, that went about how I expected to go. Ari went from Ludens and an Amp Tome to a Deathcap, along with that Ludens and Amp Tome in the space of one back. So let's have fun. You see, and now you don't. He doesn't have time for Death Dance yet. He's still only just on the 2 items. So he gets blown up before anything even starts, and then just the rest of the team went in. Parry difference with a big 4-man ult. Aphelios had his Infernum gun, the Hurricane done, so he managed to get all the AoE damage, and they just completely wiped Question XD and got Soul Point with Infernum and a Baron, and secured a pretty much already secure game.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of a textbook team fight here for a team that's far ahead, has, you know, just like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter how many things I miss. I'm a Deathcap Ludens Echo Ari, and Let's Have Fun has no magic resist. So now I don't see any real way for this to end other than either a clean push or a big sloppy team fight where Stuck Gaming takes it off of goal difference.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. I see they're kind of set up for a weird 1-3-1. Kindred's farming, they might get one of them picked off, but they're pretty much able to pick and choose how they want to win this at this point. They could probably just group down 5, Ari dash in, land a charm, blow up one member, Volibear jumps in and decides that towers don't matter anymore with his ult, or they can just land a pick onto Mordekaiser and push down the side lane.
And Olaf.
Pretty easily.
Alright, well, I guess, I mean, that is, they can pick and choose the way they wanted to end this game. You said it yourself, and now with a 5v3 advantage here on the map, they're going to be pushing all 3 lanes, basically.
Yep. Ari in the bot lane, you have Olaf, who's completely, utterly outscaled. Ari's already level 16, my goodness.
Oh boy.
Galio, who is completely and utterly useless, other than like one taunt and a knockup. The might be able to get Omar, but he has ult and Nanami, so looks like all 3 lanes are crashing. All 3 inhibs are going down.
Yeah, ult, Nami, Redemption. No hope here for Question XD unless they can know parry difference will flash the Death's Grasp while Ari takes down that bottom inhibitor. And I don't even think Stuck Gaming wants to reset for this. They've got 40 seconds left on the Baron, which is basically 40 seconds of free play time they have in this. Oh boy. Doc going very low. Parry difference. Trying to take down this inhibitor, but 3 members of Question Mark XD are going to try and stop him. It's not going to be enough. 1 Nexus turret down. Volibear is going to make the second Nexus turret completely useless. The GA is on the Olaf, but he goes down a second time. Doc is very low. 1 last ditch effort, and it looks like Stuck Gaming is going to be the ones trying to clean up the fountain a little bit, pad their KDAs just a tad before they take Game 1 of this semifinal series.
Just pretty easy game from Stuck Gaming got a lead, and other than like one or two very minor missteps, never let it go. I think Question XD just didn't really have a good grasp on when they fight, when they could force, and when they had to give. Weren't able to get really too many proactive plays, and when they did push up, they got countered very easily, got snowballed on, and with their kind of comp, there was really no way they were coming back from that big of a deficit.
Yeah, so, I mean, really, as you said, this one was much less Stuck Gaming making wild, crazy plays, and much more Question XD kind of not doing not hitting the notes that they needed to in the early game, or kind of playing the wrong keys. Their hands were shifted over by one. They accidentally pressed their flash key instead of G. But that will be game one, so we'll see if Question Mark
No,
XD...
they did press G a couple of times. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they
At the
definitely
end.
did. The 2-for-1 was a good one, but we'll have to see if they can bring it back in the next game. Otherwise, Stuck Gaming may be sending us home early with a 2-game series. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be back in a few minutes. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for Game 2 of Stuck Gaming versus XD. In Game 1, Stuck Gaming just kind of rolled over our 4 seed here.
Yeah, that was what I would call a shellacking in that last game.
Just
And
just
we'll see
painted
what they
their
do to-
tables. That would be
Yeah,
the
we'll see what they do to fix it this one.
actual definition of shellacking. But similar bands. I mean, Graves and Akali were both taken away in the first rotation, so... Then a Rumble next, which was Stuck Gaming's third ban, I believe. So it's really just everything out of order.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused about the Rumble ban, because I'm not really sure who plays it on Question XD. I don't remember Rebird ever playing it. I guess they're kind of worried about the mid playing it, but I wouldn't really be worried about a Rumble mid on someone who doesn't usually go mid. If you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
like,
I'm a
you know,
little- I'm a little
why
bit
take away
curious
Doc's
about that.
Rumble when Doc isn't known for his Rumble and it's very easy to counterpick? But a
Yeah.
little bit of a shake-up here by XD. They are going to be taking away Aphelios, Askelios himself, and then Skildra, which they took away last time as well.
Yeah, that's two of the problem champs that I could see. Looking through Doc's history, there is exactly one Syndra game mixed in with his mini Olaf, Hecarim, Trundle, and other jungler games, so that's probably his most comfortable mid.
It's got to be
With
the representative
wait,
sample, right? One game on
right,
Syndra, he's going to play Syndra.
Doc's team's the one that banned it. What am I saying? Never mind.
Oh, then maybe they really want to take it away
ignore.
from Doc, because he only has one game on it.
Yeah, so instead we're gonna have Ashe and a Fiddlesticks lock in on a
So-
team that isn't Return of the Middlesticks.
Yeah,
I'm
it's already
wondering
shaping
whether
up
that's
to be a
playing better
completely
Jungler.
different draft, right? A little bit of a Fiddlesticks, a little bit of a Zaya here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to me though, because Fiddlesticks is looking to ult in, start a fight. Zaya likes people running into her to be able to get feathers down. I don't really see too many synergies between them and how the comp would go together. Plus, I just don't like Zaya as a lone ADC pick. Like, if you have Rakan, sure, she's pretty good, or into like certain comps, that I really don't like it early on taking it. Looks like Ashe, Luffing Karma for Stuck Gaming, which is just another really solid 3-man that can do pretty much anything you wanted to, with the added benefit of being able to flex Karma mid or support.
Yeah, and of
If
course,
you want.
Killering is no stranger to the Karma mid, so it's not like... so it's actually keeping Question XD on their toes, but wow, Blitzcrank. I suppose that is pretty good against the Ashe, but again, I mean, it's no Rakan. As you were just saying, you don't really like Zaya as a lone ADC pick unless you've got that Rakan with her. But
Yeah.
the Blitzcrank is interesting. Volibear is
Yeah.
banned, though.
I wouldn't say Blitzcrank's too bad, because Zaya likes people running in towards her so she can lay feathers down. Blitz can make sure that one person is running towards you at a very quick speed with follow-up CC to give you time for feathers, and it just allows you to have at least some playmaking to try and get a pick on a old rotation. So I do kind of like the Blitzcrank pick. Another Nocturne ban, I'm assuming for they have something that makes them want to ban it, or just don't care what happens top lane, that they'd have anything to ban. And I very much like the Ahri ban away from Killering after last game.
Oh yeah, that Ahri was just absolutely monstrous. I think it's ameliorated a little bit just by the fact that Zaya has a little more ability to kind of wait out Ahri's burst and stuff, as opposed to Ezreal. But still, that's not anything that you want Killering's hands on. And we'll have to see whether they blind their mid or their top here, but it will be Wukong, so it's a flex pick.
Yeah, I think that they're leaving the Fiddlesticks open as a flex as well. Fiddlesticks, I think, would be pretty good for Doc mid lane, being as Doc has not a lot of experience. I think Fiddle's pretty easy. You walk into the middle of the wave and press W, and that's Fiddlesticks' gameplay mid lane, from my understanding. So you still have that for the jungle mid flex to open up your comp a bit more, especially with Wukong, another flexible
Yeah,
pick.
and I was going to say, especially because they're not really giving it away so that you can counterpick it perfectly. But with the hovers here for Lord Reeves, this very well may be a Karma mid, and I frankly do like that with the Olaf pick, just because, as you said, it's already a very strong core, and Karma does offer a lot to teams. It is a Nautilus lock, so that's Ashe Nautilus, which is a scary combo.
Yeah, it gives him a lot of burst. Zaya's a lot less vulnerable to it than most other ADCs would be, though, with the ability to just say no to one or both of the ults if she does it, if she times it really well. And that's Aurelia lock-in, and I have no idea why they're picking Aurelia here.
Yeah, okay, because also, like, Aurelia is another one that's like, okay, technically you could flex her, so it's just strange enough that maybe Doc is going Fiddlesticks jungle and Rip Brutalizer has some Irelia experience. I don't know. I have not checked the OPGGs here.
Yeah, that's my guess is that Doc is going jungle with it. He was pretty class mid, but for me, Aurelia's a champion that you require a lot of games on to make her worth ever picking. She's fairly skill cap intensive, and I just don't see enough experience on any of the players from Question XD to be able to get a lot out of her, especially when I would like to see a more like kiting comp from Question XD when you look at what Stuck Gaming has. They have a bunch of champs that want to run it, and you get in the middle of you. They have Olaf, Mordekaiser. You don't really want to be the one diving them, because they can just kite it out with Ashe Karma while you're getting beat down by Mordekaiser Olaf, which now that Aurelia has to go in, I don't see her getting able to pop up in fights with the amount of CC and just damage.
Yeah, the
you can
amount
use
of
to lock her down.
ridiculous peel that you have between Ashe self-peeling, Karma being able to help kite, and then just Nautilus. Literally the
Yeah.
most CC in the game.
Yeah, so it's just, we'll see how it works out. It's not the pick that I would choose in this sort of situation, especially because you're leaving Fiddlesticks as your only magic damage. And Fiddlesticks does do a lot of magic damage if he gets to ult in the middle of you, which Ashka is really good in that because you have Hawkshot to check the corners. And if Fiddle isn't getting a surprise ult, he really doesn't do very much of anything. Unless like you just don't CC him and you have a Nautilus, so you should be able to CC him.
Yeah,
So it's just,
that was one thing that we didn't really talk about all that much last game, which was the vision control, which is something that Doc needs to do almost nothing short of perfectly this game in order to succeed on this Fiddlesticks, because Olaf is like 50% immune to the stuff that Fiddlesticks offers as a champion. And in the early game, of course, when Fiddlesticks kind of sucks and Olaf kind of rocks every other champion, that might go poorly. It might go as poorly as it did last game for Question XD.
Yeah. And Olaf's just like a Fiddle counter, because Fiddle heals, Olaf just runs him down and kills him, and you can't fear him away. Or just, yeah, it's just,
yeah, that's actually my experience and my emotions when playing against an Olaf. It's just ah.
yeah. On the bright side for Question XD, though, they do have a pretty decent wombo. If they land it, they have Wukong Fiddle to just go in and spin and caw all over what Stuck Gaming want to do. And especially if they get a lead, they can just kind of blitzkrieg team fights, running through them. They have skirmishers with a lot of damage. Zaya can self-peel if Olaf decides to run at her. They have pick potential with the Blitzcrank. So if Question XD can get a good enough start to the game, I'd say, or manage to get like a surprise wombo off, they can do pretty well, but they're going to have to watch out for Olaf just kind of running over them or getting picked off by Ashe arrows.
Yeah, I think it's staying away from all of the different the pick tools that Stuck Gaming has to offer, whether that's just an Olaf running you down or Ashe ult, Nautilus, Mordekaiser taking you into the Shadow Realm. But in the mid lane, I think that is like the early win condition here for Question XD, because like jungle's kind of a lost cause already as we go into the game. But Irelia versus Karma is a place where potentially, if Rip Brutalizer is a seasoned veteran on this champion, it is somewhere where he can kind of show his stuff and beat down on a fairly weak side, or it's not really a side, but weak mid laner.
Yeah. But I would also, of all the mid laners, I would say Karma is one of the better ones in Aurelia. You have the shield for both to stop some all-in damage and also give you enough speed to dodge the E, which is the only way that Aurelia can
No,
realistically matter.
yeah, good
Just
point. I totally
follow her
forgot
and
about the E.
CC, and then just force her off the wave with the Q. So for someone who's not familiar with Aurelia, I would give Karma a very, very advantageous matchup there, but we'll have to see how he ends up playing it.
Yeah, so in general, we do see double lethal tempo on the ADCs, which, you know, not super surprising considering Xayah and Ashe are two of the ADCs that just actually use lethal tempo well. And just standard runes all around. Couple of conquerors, 4 conquerors in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, the runs are pretty standard. Most of them, I'm not sure about Fiddlesticks Jungle. I think I've seen him before. He's taken Dark Harvest, Alchemist, Aftershock, good one. Electrocute might be the best choice on him. I don't actually know. I'm not quite familiar enough with what Jungle Fiddle likes to take.
Yeah, I know Aftershock
Yeah,
is usually the choice of mid
I
fiddle.
don't like Electrocute, actually. I think about it more. I don't like Electrocute.
It's hard for him to get
Yeah, you'll go
3
Aftershock.
damage sources off, isn't it? He's got
Yeah.
Q, E, and I mean, like his W would be his third. But oh, oh, Lord Reeves will flash the wall and force the monkey flash. So,
Yeah.
worth.
I'm not quite sure if Reaper had flashed that. I understand doing it because you don't want to take the risk,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure exactly like whether the Nautilus's very, very dumb hitbox would have been able to go behind the wall and get him, and even then if there was enough follow-up from the rest of the team if it did. But he respect flashes and I'm fine with that. But a bit back to the fiddle, yeah, you don't really get to proc electrocute that easily. And even when you do, you're a AoE team fighter, you aren't single target damage, so what does it really offer you other than I guess you're a bit better if Olaf fights you, but if Olaf's fighting, pretty screwed anyway.
Yeah,
So,
it seems like Dark Harvest really should be the move here for a jungle Fiddlesticks. But we'll have to
Yeah,
see how
or
it works
even-
out here for Doc. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we're not the experts. The guy playing it generally is.
also true. Don't exactly know the proper fiddle jungle setup. I've been seeing it mostly solo lanes.
Unless this is just, of course, a Haunter move. He accidentally took Fleet Footwork Mordekaiser last week.
Ah, yes. That's also something that could happen, just misclick. Or he's first tying a champion. That's something else that, sadly enough, not uncommon.
When you're like, when you're you're on Mobifire trying to look up the guide as the rest of your team is drafting, you're like, guys, just stall it out. I need to figure out how to play this champ. Oh.
Oh?
Early Ignite. Very early Ignite here. Rip Brutalizer getting super frisky here in the mid lane, but Killering is alive. Both of them have Corrupting Potions, but Killering is out of charges now. Lord Reeves, though, is roaming, and he finds Doc, and Doc flashes.
Yeah, that was... I like the state from Doc to be there to counter gank the roaming Nautilus. I think that was actually really nice. Unfortunately, Olaf was there too, so as he tried to stop Nautilus, he realized that, oh crap, there's 2 of them. Put himself at a disadvantage as...
Oh.
Okay, he's fine.
Yep, Curb Stomp's just gonna whiff it.
Yeah, but Aurelia blue-lining the Ignite there is really bad for the all-in potential in lane state. Karma's already back to pretty much full, is out of Corrupting Pots, which is nice.
Yeah, Aurelia's still
It
got
is
1
nice that-
left. So, but yeah, look at all that.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
all
it's
that
easy.
damage.
Yeah, you missed the E and went in anyway, and so that's just the end of trade being your advantage.
Yeah, sad boy melee
Really
mid
have to
laner
land it,
hours.
Be able to do anything. Yeah, and now Brutalizer's just in such a awful rough spot. He's 1 Q away from dead, so he pretty much has to back or die to a random Q. He doesn't have TP, but Karma does, and he's
Bravo. Early solo kill here for Killering. It looks like it will be an early solo kill for parry difference. If he can just
no
land a
flash
Q.
combo.
There we go. Doc
Yeah.
is here, and so is Mike. We might see another 1v1. But the fear will zone away the Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf not quite 6 yet, as let's get into another fight.
Oh my, Curb Stomp is going to get heal used on him by Let's Have Fun, so it's an Ignite for heal trade, and that man is at no shortage of Yumi emotes, is he?
Nope. But, yeah, just that's 2 really nice kills to be able to pick up from SG early. If they can get a lead, there's, again, not pretty much any comeback mechanisms from Question XD other than a Fiddle Wukong Wombo, which is gonna be hard against someone with, like, the vision control of Ashe and the utility of Karma mid. And just the solo lanes being put behind like this when they have no pressure, that makes it a lot harder for the jungler, especially when it's a Fiddle who's liable to get invaded by Olaf now that he doesn't have solo lane support. So it's just really rough start for what Question XD need to be doing.
But maybe Fiddle will be able to do something. Trade of flashes here, Curb Stomp and Vital. But no, it was warded out, and looks like Stuck Gaming just they have a they've got a cool head on their shoulders. They know what they need to be doing, and they're actually executing on it so far. Which I mean, it seems that they're prevailing in this early game.
Yeah.
Huh? And Rip Brutalizer just not having the time of his life here.
Dead again.
Yep, there he goes. One more auto attack should do it. Yep, Killering takes a second solo kill.
Yeah, and this is bad to worse at this point. He's going to miss another gigantic wave of experience. His all-in threat pretty soon is going to be at a point where he doesn't have any all-in threat, and then you're just in a really bad side of the matchup. So,
yeah, and
not looking great.
And really, with the 2 lanes behind and only bot lane going even at this point, of course jungle is, but there's not that much you can do to affect a heavily losing lane. But yeah, this bot lane, it looks like Curb Stomp is going for things. He really wants to help get his team back in here, get Let's Have Fun a kill. But unfortunately, he's not able to find Vital. He's positioning well around these minion waves.
Yeah. I will say nice for Fiddle to be even with Olaf, since Fiddle can in the right circumstances outscale him. It's a lot tougher with Karma, but Karma's also looks like she's going for the Ludens into the more AP poke carry route instead of the usual Ardent Chalice Karma that we see. And really a nice job at Killering here to pull the wave a bit instead of a freeze, because Aurelia can't deal with a freeze at this point. She's 2 levels down, no magic to a full Lust chapter, so she doesn't really get to do any all-in without opening herself up very much to risk of. So she's calling in jungle to break the freeze, but Olaf's already there, and you do not win this 2v2.
No ultimates available though. Mike going very low. He is going to have his ultimate available. He doesn't even need it because he's Olaf. The passive is just too much to deal with. And now 2 kills in the pocket of the Stuck Gaming jungler.
Yeah, what's the saying? Second verse, same as the first. This is just so rough for Question XD at this point in time. Mid lane is permanent pressure valley. You'll never get anything done there anymore. Killering has full and complete ability to do whatever he wants to, go wherever he wants to. That's another Flesh Bone bot. Oof.
Yeah, and this time it's the important one, really. Let's Have Fun. He didn't have 6, and Lord Reeve saw the opportunity, just went forward. They will be able to catch that giant wave and probably get 6 off of it, or at least get back to even in CS and XP. Meanwhile, mid lane has kind of turned into a living nightmare for Rip Brutalizer. Once Killering gets his boots, it'll be just too easy to roam around, affect the map, and start to push this lead for Stuck Gaming, bring it from mid lane into the rest of them.
Yeah, I also want to put a question mark ping top lane for Question XD. I'm not quite sure what the Caulfield's Warhammer is going to build into for Wukong. Normally, Wukong has a bunch of different builds that I've seen. I've seen like Black Cleaver first. I've seen like you get the Tiamat. That's
for wave clear.
Just for wave clear and then go into Black Cleaver. I've seen Triforce, but I have no idea what Caulfield's first is going to go into unless just one CDR. Oh, this could be a good all-in mid. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, very clean. Great job by Rip Brutalizer, managing to take that back. Now, he did use the Ignite and his ultimate, but, I mean, to shut down the Fed mid laner, that's worth it. Now, possibly a 3-man dive here if Vital and Lord Reeves get too far forward. The go-in ping is there. Curbstomp moving forward. That's going to be the ultimate from Doc, and there's nothing that Stuck Gaming can do. It's going to be 3 quick kills picked up in succession here for the underdogs.
Yeah, that was actually really nicely done by Question XD across the board. We were just talking about how they were in a lot of trouble, but then Brutalizer comes up and gets a very, very good and important solo kill mid. Killering was ahead, he knew he was ahead, so he started going into more AP, but forgot that Aurelia is pretty freaking good at all-ins, just like I did. And Aurelia manages to just outplay them with the solo kill. Killering didn't flash the E or the R. Flashed afterwards, went down to Ignite. That gets Aurelia back in the game, and then a really nice sit-up bot where they noticed that SG were pushing up without vision. So they managed to get around through the tri-bush, no spotting them, and then get the fear ult off of Doc to get the double kill, and even up the gold once again with probably another kill.
Hello, Curb Stomp. The Ignite is going to be used by the Blitzcrank this time, but Mike is here, and he's going to get some damage off onto the Blitz. That is the Fiddlesticks. Now Rip Brutalizer coming in. Is he going to be able to find another kill onto Killering? No, he will not. Mike Oxmaul is on a killing spree. Killering going to get some more damage onto Doc. It's a double kill for the Olaf. Will he find Curb Stomp? Now, Mechanical Reaper flashes forward. Will not be able to find the jump onto Killering. He's in the Death Realm now. Parry difference going to pull him in. It's just a 1v1, and I do not think that the Monkey wins this. He will... Oh, Killering is actually going to put himself at risk and find a kill, so 3 for nothing for Stuck Gaming. It's going to be a dropped Rift Herald here in the mid lane. Going to find 2 more turrets and the first turret for themselves in short order.
Oh, you hate to see it. You just really do. They even up the gold lead with nice individual plays. They get caught up and then take a really, really bad fight mid. Managed to get Killering. They managed to get stun on him. I doubt anything comes of this. I mean to keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
They managed to get him down. Get the stun on him. They try to let him, but just not quite enough damage. Rip Brutalizer actually dashed back into the minion wave with his Q. He was trying to get a reset, but that put him out of range of dashing to Killering, who managed to run right back into the Olaf. And then they just way overforced. They were trying way too hard to get the kills and went into Olaf. Wukong came down, he tried to flash, get the karma. He gave away his life for free. They managed to drop Herald mid, plates were already low, and that's now what was only less than 1,000 gold behind. Now they're 4k down. Question next to you.
And they can't even get themselves a Nautilus for their trouble here. The sneaky ward is there, and now the engage might be here as well. The Dragon will go over to Stuck Gaming first, but that is going to be Lord Reeves losing his life. Vital in the middle of 2. Rip Brutalizer is going to force the flash, but the flash forward by him is going to find a kill onto the ADC of Stuck Gaming. Killering on the run. Mike is doing a lot of damage, almost uncontested. Now, it's Mechanical Reaper in there. He's got the Cyclone on. He's going to try and find Killering. He will find a triple knockup, but the ace for 2. Stuck Gaming walks away with murder.
Man, they did a better job in the fight than I thought they would. They managed to get a couple early kills while Stuck Gaming were distracted with Dragon, but Olaf was untouched. Olaf's pretty fed, and Olaf killed pretty much all of them once they used all their burst damage on else. So they went for the fight, but then Olaf just got to start hitting people with axes. Killering was untouched too. He managed to get a bunch of shields and damage down, and after pushing forward, after they'd already used all their cooldowns, they just weren't able to get it. And that's a Dragon and what is now almost a 6k gold lead.
Yeah, I think Question XD was suffering from the same problem that I was, where I looked at that fight and I saw Lord Reeves go down early, Vital get jumped on by Rip Brutalizer. I was like, wait, this is actually a one-team fight for them. You know, they lose the Dragon, but they get a bunch of kills that they really needed, because they win this 5v5. Wait, where's Mordekaiser? And that's when Mordekaiser showed up. I was like, ah, that's why they were losing. So, it really, I think they just tunneled a little bit too hard before realizing that, oh, Olaf's on the wrong side of the fight, and Mordekaiser is just not here at all.
Yes. Yeah. They aren't accepting aren't accepting what they can get, and they're pushing for way more than they're able to do. They'll get a small advantage and then just won't respect that they can't keep fighting that and that they are behind, so they're forcing way too hard. Just like Mechanical Reaper doing top, he's getting pretty low.
Surprise! Vital is gonna go down. It's a good Crow Storm, but for a for a big team fight ultimate, you want to get more than just one. However, really, Question XD is just trying to get anything that they can at this point.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good pick that they got there. There aren't any objectives up for a while, so they can feel free to use the ult. Even if there are objectives, there's no way they can team fight for it. So you've just got to get what you can. Manage to get Vital. That's a really nice kill. Try and get the only lane not bleeding in your bot lane up enough gold to actually be a threat and try and carry some of these fights. Because Olaf has a lot of gold, but he will eventually fall off, especially if he tries when he goes in and he's building pure damage. So he will kill people, but if it gets late enough, he'll also be squishy and be able to get blown up by Xayah with her feathers all on him. So it's going to be a long road to try and pull the way back in this game, but it's also all they can do at this point.
Yeah, and I suppose giving all of that gold to Xayah is, I mean, pretty much the best option on the team. Xayah is one of the few ADCs that can really just kind of 1v9, provided that she positions well. So let's have fun having that full first item, the Executioners as well. Almost being even there with Vital. Actually being even there with Vital in terms of items. That's at least, you know... Oh! There we go, forcing the ult out. Parry difference with 1 Death's Grasp.
Yeah. So, I'm looking back at the Wukong build. I was talking about it earlier with the Caulfield's first. I wasn't sure. Looks like he's just going for the Aatrox garage sale CDR thing. I don't like that on Wukong nearly as much. Aatrox, people like Aatrox and Vlad that just do rush the CDR, they are completely dependent on their cooldowns to do anything, whereas Wukong doesn't really need them up as often. He wants just the straight fighting power of being able to E in. The attack speed lasts until it's off cooldown pretty much anyway. Q's on a short enough cooldown that you don't need to garage sale CDR. So he's going for it, but that also means that he isn't getting the Triforce, he's getting the Black Cleaver that allow him to make use of his stats. And that just, for me, is putting him too far behind for not much reward.
Yeah, I, as you said, it works on some champions, Vlad and Aatrox primarily. But yeah, I haven't really seen this on a Wukong, and I don't like it. I don't like the way that it's working out so far, because it just seems like he doesn't do anything. He just does nothing frequently. Like, every time he tries to do something, you're like, well, I mean, that didn't work out so great, but he did it a couple times in a row, and now it is Mike going in. He... As you said earlier, the Blitzcrank, he just frequented the he made the Olaf run at you faster, and it didn't go well for Question XD there.
Yeah, he made him run at him faster, but this is that was a 7-0-3 Olaf you just ulted in the middle of your team. They don't have enough burst at this point in time to actually one-shot him, so they just gave him a nice little express train to be able to get his damage off sooner. And completely just ace them, and now you have Rift Herald charging down mid, and that's going to be at the very least an inhib tower, and an inhib if they actually want to push for it.
Yeah, they actually doesn't look like the Rift Herald will be getting the second charge. Stuck Gaming, I guess they're just going to reset here. Or maybe they'll push their luck on the bottom side of the map. No, the assist ping is on Baron, coming up in about a minute and a half. So full reset and a little bit of a Baron pressure here for Stuck Gaming seems to be their next win condition here.
Yeah, they've got a lot of gold to back and spend on, so they're just going to do that. Give themselves. Don't give any opportunity for a big from. Questioning, try and get them back in the game, because at this point there's just not, aren't able to be proactive. Olaf is way too fed until Xayah is like 3 items. She won't be able to fight him, and that's so much gold that like over 6,000, I think. That you're not going to be able to do a lot in the map for a while. So you're trying to weather the storm at this point. Wukong doesn't even have an item done yet.
Yeah, so
You've got Fiddle, who has his jungle item. Rally only has one, so far behind on item spikes.
yeah, pretty much at this point, if Stuck Gaming doesn't screw this up royally, they win. It's really, really hard for them to lose.
Yeah.
Just play, if you just play League of Legends and keep your brain in your head, you should be able to, cover this pretty easily. Dunk.
Oh.
No
Okay.
steal.
You noticed the couple of question pings going down. It was close. Almost got it, but Fiddle will manage to grab that Baron. But yeah, it's just, you have Olaf. Death Stance is almost done. He has an Athene's Karma in his back pocket, and no one on the other team has any damage. So he just gets to run roughshod over everything. You have a couple more minutes, and Ocean Soul's going to be up. Then you have Ocean Soul, Death Stance Olaf with Athene's backup being able to run at you. You won't be able to kill him, and that's not even counting the other 3 members of the team that can follow up with an Ash Arrow or a Nautilus Stun. So Aurelia's going in here. She does not win this, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say Perry hasn't even used his ultimate, and he just 2-comboed her. That's a big rip there. I mean, Brutalizer, I think he's got like the right idea that Question XD needs to find something here in order to get back in this game, but I don't think he's got the idea, but he doesn't have the method in. You can't try and force against strong 1v1 champions and 1v1 them for this win.
Yeah. Well, he's got the idea that they want to do something, but he's about 4,000 actually being able to make anything happen off of that. So instead, he just gives over an extra 300 to make that even farther away and be able to do anything. So meanwhile, like, they're having to send everyone bot to deal with the 4, and Killerring's pushing top. He's going to be able to get another tower. And there's just, I mean, I guess you look for a Blitz pull. That's going to be a kill.
Oh, or will it?
Flash.
The flash over. Yeah, the flash will save him. So the pressure's still there by Killering, and even though Stuck Gaming is backed off, Killering can still push a little bit because it's just that Question XD just respects them too much. They don't want to step too far forward and get punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, Killerring's just, you can't match him. He's 2.5 items. Reaper was still in Studio Garage. He backs and gets a Death Stance first. Now, for anyone watching, Death Stance first is actually terrible here. Like, just don't get Death Stance first on Wukong. There are better items. You can get the Tiamat for wave clear. You can get Trinity Force for all ends. At this stage, I would say Black Cleaver, so you at least have some utility with your ult. Your ult stacks Black Cleaver extremely quickly, so you get Armor Shred. Instead, when he has no damage, he gets Death Stance, which to heal requires you to do damage, and just won't be able to do a lot. That's pretty cool.
Okay, good. Oh my god, no. Oh, that is heartbreaking. I was gonna say good pick on Reeves. Finally they're getting something back here, but they blew. Yeah, they blew a lot on that. And I mean, they get his flash heal, but it is going to be the Ocean Soul going over pretty much uncontested because Lord Reeves is still at about 25% HP and he's got all of his cooldowns. He knocks up Doc. It's gonna be the Ocean Soul going over to Stuck Gaming. Killering is here. It could be a 5-man, but no, they're just gonna walk away with this soul. And now Question XD they're 10k behind at 23 minutes.
GG, go next, except there's no next to go.
Yeah,
because
go to
they're
third
already
place
behind
match,
in
more
the
like.
series. Yeah, pretty much. There's just, I literally don't think there's anything they can do here. You have Ocean Soul on a team that's stupidly far ahead. You have Athene's Karma, you have Death Stance Olaf. Super big item spikes. Question XD from behind don't have any champs that are like good from behind. Aurelia's gonna go in, get blown up instantly. Fiddle's gonna go in, not have enough damage to kill through Ocean Soul, get blown up instantly.
Look,
are gonna try and find a pick on Nautilus, but
it doesn't do any damage. It doesn't do any damage. Mike, he's just gonna run down 2-3 members of the team. he's taking damage, but now he's healing it back up. Mechanical Reaper goes in. The death stands, as you said. He just doesn't do any damage to heal. Go next.
Yeah.
Just throw the white
Exactly.
flag,
Like,
man.
it's just- yeah. Like, your champs all go into melee range to do any damage. You don't do any damage, so you expose yourself to the enemy's damage. Get blown up and die. Curb Stomp has had a couple of nice hooks to try and get something, but all it's done is blown flashes. Point with Ocean Soul, I think that like you get hooked and you last long enough for your team to either kill them or you just last long enough to walk away.
Yeah.
So this is definitely SGs to lose if they like fountain dive 5 times and get ace each time.
Last long enough for your team to get there. Last long enough, or you know, last long enough and don't die, or just last long enough and while you are dying, your team's like, I mean, we could just afford to go take Baron. They can't do anything about this.
Or last long enough to kill them all, as Olaf has done.
Yeah,
like,
it's
3 or 4 fights now.
That seems to be a much more Olaf-oriented solution, but no, that's definitely happened before. Like we had like a Scion or a Zac or someone who was like so tanky that literally we took Baron, but now Vital will go down finally. Mechanical Reaper takes the kill, but Mike is in the backline. Brutalizer going to be taken down. A double kill here for the Olaf. Doc, he's on the run, but he will not last that long. Double kill here. Killering, will he make 5? It is an ace, and Stuck Gaming closes it out in 2 clean games. This is it, because they've got the minion wave pushing,
Yep.
and unless Mike just doesn't want to end, still 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely be game. TP's coming in. That was just solo lane diff. Mechanical Reaper lost top lane. Killering managed to get an advantage mid lane. Rip Brutalizer did manage to get one thing back. The kill and the shutdown, they got kind of even to gold, but then they threw it away running in to an Olaf who just killed them all. He got really far ahead, and their comp just wasn't equipped to deal with it. Last second KDA padding. But yeah, so it's just they lost this solo lane spot went kind of even, but it isn't a bot where they can really carry late game till super with so many items. So they fell behind. Comp wasn't able to deal with it, and they just got run over from there with a very, very scary Viking.
Yeah, and to Question XG's credit, this looked, just my eye test, they looked better in this game. I think they had a harder matchup in this game, and then specifically in the mid lane, the first solo kill was a little bit overzealous by Rip Brutalizer, but aside from that, it just seemed Stuck Gaming just had individually just a lot more confidence. They knew their power spikes, their champions, their power windows, and they just pulled that off spectacularly.
Yep. Yeah, they did a very good job. Question is, you just were forcing too hard after they fell a little bit behind. They weren't as coordinated. Stuck Gaming just was able to respond to their plays better, get the kills, and run over the game from there.
Yeah, and
But it was better this second.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see this team take on the winner of GSM Return to the Middle Sticks on Saturday in the finals of Diamond for the Summer Splash. But for now, it is the evening, and it is the end of our tenure here on this stream. So thank you everyone who watched. I am Vid. Joining me is General Vici. Tune in tomorrow night to watch him take on Return to the Middle Sticks at 7 p.m. Central Time on this channel. Oh.
Yeah.
But aside from that, thank you everyone. Have a nice night. Check us out tomorrow. We've got a doubleheader again, Platinum and Diamond, the final 2 matches of the semifinals before finals on Friday. Good night.